Branding by Jo Client Spotlight interview series. I'm Jocelyn Espejo, aka Jo, founder of Branding by Jo. And in this series, we're spotlighting inspiring entrepreneurs who are unlocking their brand's true potential and taking things to the next level. Each episode dives into the unique journeys, challenges, and unforgettable wins to spark ideas for your own brand. So let's dive in. Today, I am so excited to introduce Robyn-Ann. She's the visionary founder of Grateful Gains, a brand dedicated to empowering women of purpose with tools that inspire transformation and productivity. From their signature all-in-one prayer-led planner sets to empowering coaching programs and a forthcoming productivity app, Grateful Gains is on a mission to help ambitious women embody their highest values and boldly pursue their plans. Robyn-Ann, every brand has its own unique story, and yours is incredibly inspiring. Can you share your brand's vision and highlight the plans that you have for Grateful Gains?
Yes. So hi again. So Grateful Gains really started when I was a new mom of two under two. And as you can imagine, it was hectic. I was still working, and I was still, doing all the things. A lot of times when we're ambitious women, we tend to not realize how much we kind of need to slow down sometimes in motherhood. So I was still trying to do all the things while having littles and just became burnt out. And so I realized I needed a place to really help me center in and be mindful and really take authority over the day before, no matter how busy it was gonna get, because we know, with toddlers, it's gonna be busy, but I was like, I need a tool that really brought together a few things, because I had a planner which would just have me focus on to-do lists. But I was like, this is not helping me start the day with my mind in the right place before I really dove into my task. And so I was like, I can't always get to my Bible, my journal, vision board, all the things that you think, are perfect to get you in the right, mindset all at once. I was like, I really want something where I can take it on the go and it has all those benefits in one. And so that's how I created a planner that really had all those pieces. Had my vision that I could really set. I could start my day with prayer. I had a verse there, scripture, just things that got me in the right mindset to really know that, okay, I'm already enough. And, I could really work from a place of being enough and sufficient and not burn myself out trying to do more than I needed to.
I love that.
Yeah, so that was the story of really how it started. And I love that, creating it, even though it had its own challenges, I really love that then I also was able to make it aesthetic, because a lot of planners I felt like didn't match some of the elegant aesthetic that I sometimes would love to have matching, my purses or things that we carry with us that we like to look good. I also wanted a planner that had that same, where it elevated your look too.
So you have more than just a planner though. Grateful Gains has a planner and it has a purse and it has, I think, the matching water bottle cover.
Right. So depending on the sets, right. So like I said, I love sets that really make you feel good when you pick it up and go. So even as a mom, you really have to choose your moments of when you could try to look put together. And so I really love things that really come together as a set and make you just look polished even when you're running out the door. So I didn't just want planners, but I wanted a planner that would have the purse that would match. And then like you mentioned, for some of our later ones, we've added the matching water bottle sleeves. So that, it's something where it's things that you need, but you don't have to look as random and chaotic where you're just grabbing, random things. But they already come together. So they're not sold separately. They already come. You buy a planner, you're going to get that entire look.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and it's so hard to sometimes feel put together, but it's the little things that can really make a difference. Like, okay, now I've got my planner that looks nice.
Right.
And I think one of the things that you mentioned when you were filling out some of the questions for me for the blog was that you just couldn't find it. Like, you could find a prayer devotional and you could find a planner.
Right.
And then if you found one that was maybe both, it still didn't look as nice as what you were saying. So that's where this vision to design it
came together.
And then now that's expanded.
It has.
And so tell me a little bit more about some of the other services. So the Grateful Gains started with the planner and then has now morphed into, your heart was really in helping women. And when we initially met, like the overwhelm, that struggle of trying to find, and you touched on it earlier, like really owning the fact that you are enough.
Right.
But your brand has kind of evolved outside of just this prayer-led planner.
I guess just kind of merged a couple of things. Because like you said, that's always been my heart. So, I mean, for the past 15 years, I've always either mentored or coached women in some form, but I was initially trying to have them separately. So I still had where I was coaching certain clients when I started Grateful Gains. And then I had this planner company that I started because I was mainly looking for a planner that could fit, just all the tools that I feel like really helps us battle that burnout. But over time, again, I was realizing, wait, this is the same audience, and this really is still the same vision of really wanting to serve, like you mentioned, women who, I mean, sadly, I feel like you poll the majority of women these days, and that is a complaint, is that they feel overwhelmed. And so I was like, wait, these aren't two separate brands. This is one goal, one vision to really help women work more from that place of abundance instead of for it. I feel like so many times we are working for instead of realizing how much you already have. And that's why they name Grateful Gains, because it really is realizing how much you already have in front of you with your kids. Just looking at our lives, we really are appreciative. I feel like what we appreciates, whatever we really take in and soak in and indulge in our lives, it really grows in value. And so I realized
when you put your focus, right? So if you focus on the positive, you can.
That's what magnifies.
Yes.
And that's what really enables you to see that you really don't need as much as you think you do, because you already have so much. So I wanted to really focus on bringing the coaching and the planner together so that now women could find everything under that one umbrella to really envision, embody, and execute, because we were focusing on the execution, but now I really wanted to also bring in just the coaching, which focuses on really helping them. Wait, pause before you execute. Who are you wanting to become? And really let's start there, and then we can execute from a place of enoughness.
Oh my gosh, that aligns so much with what I tell people. I'm like, always start back at the beginning. What's the foundation? What are you truly wanting to do? Value, what's your purpose?
Right.
And then you go from there.
Right.
So walk me through a little bit about the struggles, because I kind of know from the outside perspective, kind of watching you with running multiple brands, you have this idea, and I know that you went through bouncing around different ideas as far as where you felt called. At one point, I think it was finance, and then it was, you kept coming back to this really wanting to help women in overwhelm. So walk me through a little bit of how you decided, some of the struggles, right? Because it was a struggle for you for a little bit.
It was.
Balancing the different pieces.
It definitely was. Like I said, I felt like just realizing, like I said, trying to do all the things, balls were definitely falling. And I remember when you met me, you were like, you would be amazing at, you are amazing at this coaching piece. Just go. And I was like, trying to struggle too many businesses and too many brands. Because, when everything is its own brand, then you're trying to serve them in their own way. So really what helped is kind of like what I was saying, is I had to really sit down and say, okay, what is the legacy and the lifestyle I am trying to really carry in the long run? And when I realized that, it really is just empowering women. Like, no matter what I do, I want to be able to know that that was my legacy. And so once I was now more focused on what am I going to prioritize and what do I want to focus on, it helped me see how I could bring whatever I'm doing onto that same umbrella. And so then I was like, okay, so Grateful Gains is only going to be that focus, and anything I'm going to do is going to really have to align with that vision. And so from there, it made it obvious that, oh wait, coaching and the planners, they're serving the same audience, because they both were birthed from me and my heart to really help women, really shift from that fight of, overwhelm, and really more flow from overflow, the overflow that happens when you really choose, like you say, focus on how much you already have. So
you in essence had to push pause though. Or not even in essence, you did push pause.
I pushed pause, and like I said, I had to really go back and take a look at my own, get clear on my own vision for my life, my own legacy, my own lifestyle, that I wanted to really design and craft. And then from there, I was able to say, okay, so what is the business model that then would align with that? Okay, and then from there, what fits and what doesn't fit. So Grateful Gains still fit, because I was like, okay, being a mom, I really wanted to make sure I wasn't creating a business that was still feeling like a job, which a lot of times with one-on-one coaching, it is that. I could still feel like you have to be so involved. And I was learning that there was still a way where with products like the planners or with transformational programs, that I could bring the coaching aspect into this product-based kind of business model. that was really working well with Grateful Gains. And so now the coaching that can happen through workbooks or through these courses or through just group coaching community, you know, I realized I was able to still make myself available to women without making it something that no longer fit with my lifestyle of being a mom first.
Well, it's more scalable.
Right.
And so that's still that one-on-one coaching, even though there's a place and there can be a place
right
for
it.
For this phase of your life, it doesn't fit.
Right.
And so then now you've transitioned into this more of you're giving access, you have the tools there. I love it. So there's a group coaching community, so they can still ask questions, they can still get that feedback.
Right.
But you're still able to prioritize your family and the time. And you mentioned something and you kind of quickly jumped over it. It's the life by design. Like you were creating the life that you want.
Yes.
By design.
Yes.
And that's something that so many of us are missing.
Right. We're just being reactive.
Or we get caught up in the excitement of it. I know that I tend to want to get excited about, I want to stay in my lane. So that's something that I focus on. I'm like, okay, stay in my lane instead of jumping off and offering all these different pieces. If it relates to branding, that's great. But then it's as I scale and as I get ambitious, I have to get back to, okay, hold on. What's allowing me? Yes. Like what allows me to be present the way that I want to be present? And why did I get this in the first place?
Right.
And then saying, and it's still finding that battle. Like I find myself still saying no to some things and people going, wait, why are you saying no to this? This could be money. And I specifically had one person tell me, if I lined up 20 clients, you would show up on a Saturday. And I said, actually, no, I wouldn't. And she said, excuse me? And I'm like, no, I don't want to miss a soccer game.
Right.
Even for 20 clients, it doesn't align. But being able to have that clarity and understanding like truly what's a priority for me has helped.
And that's powerful.
But it's definitely been challenging some days because you still get caught up in the like, ooh, but if I said yes this time.
Then maybe, but I'm sure that happened only because you really paused and you had to decide, wait, what's important to me? Because if you hadn't yet decided that no, soccer games are important for me not to miss, you would have been like, yeah, you have clients, I'll go.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times as women, sometimes, like you said, we're just reacting to what someone says is an opportunity or just the, you know, the whole we can do it all at the same time. And it's like there's seasons, you know, for us to know when we want to prioritize, you know, what's important. And so that's really powerful. And what I want to help more women do, just do that pause for a second. What's important to you right now?
Well, and giving the tools, and I think that's so helpful because I know for me, like I love your planner and I love to gift it too because I find it so powerful in the sense that there's so much all in one spot.
Yeah.
Because the things get kind of clunky too. It's like, oh, if you want to have a devotional, that's one book, and then if you want to have a planner, like that's another book, and then you should do a vision board, and then that's a whole nother.
Right.
Well, there's only so many things I can carry. Or where am I at? And so I'm out and about a lot. And so for me, I love the fact that it's all kind of gathered in one place.
All in one. Yes. Same. As you know, I am obsessed with it because it really has helped me, you know, get back to a place of, because I think sometimes if we can't have the perfect morning, we think we just abandon it all and we just think, all right, just start the day with what I have to do. You know, we're responding to fires. And sometimes we really have to say no, even if you woke up late or, you know, whatever, you still can take 15 minutes to take back control over what's important to me today. All right, now what are my to-do lists from that place of what's important and what am I grateful for before I rush into, you know, the madness. And so that format of the planner, I think, really helps women, you know that you don't have to have this 2-hour perfect morning, you know, that you had to yourself, because sometimes you don't, but you still have to choose to seize the day before, you know, and really lead the day before it leads you.
Or sometimes it's just adjusting. So even though I joke and sometimes I try to start a little earlier and then my child gets up earlier. And I'm going, okay, cool. I thought I was going to do this by myself, but you just decided to wake up early. But then it's adjusting, but then knowing what's a priority and when can you fit it in somewhere different.
Right.
And just, I think for me, it's sometimes not getting disheveled by the fact that you have a plan, but that plan goes out the window the second that your eyes open. I mean, that's the reality of motherhood. But I think it's having some structure to it also allows you to go back and revisit. I love that.
Right. Even if it's, you know, 5 minutes, really we have to find those 5 minutes. To take authority. Otherwise, we kind of lose ourselves in the day.
So walk me through a little bit more about your courses and some of these pieces that you have. So we talked about the planner and the matching sets. But give me a little bit more information on some of these other options that you have available now.
That are going to be coming. So we've kind of focused on these 3 prongs now, which is envision, embody, and execute. So the planner has been kind of the execute, really what are you doing? But I think now, like I said, I want to help women start from a place of what do you envision for yourself before you even get going, doing anything. And then, who are you wanting to become, on this journey? Sometimes we're focusing on what goals I want to accomplish versus first though, who do you want to become in this season? What type of woman are you want to show up as? Then from that place, I think it really can sometimes shave off a lot of what we think are things we have to do when we instead started with, okay, what am I here to do? And what's most important for me to do and for me to be, before I really just start doing things. So because of that, the vision board, for the envision part, we're having certain vision board workbooks, which are going to be available for that piece, as well as for the embody piece, coaching workbooks, like I said, and the courses and the coaching community, which is going to be where a lot of that lives, of just helping women have the tools to design their life, live life, kind of like you said earlier, by design, not by default.
I love that.
Yeah.
So powerful.
And just focusing on, what are you wanting to really show up as, and who are you wanting to be first?
I love that perspective of it, because so many of us get with even vision boarding. It's like, where do you see yourself? And yes, in a sense, it's where would you like your business to be, or where do you see your your family, your kind of things, right? And like legacy. We talk about legacy and what kind of legacy we want to live, but I love how you're saying like, what kind of woman do you want to be?
Right.
Because that's huge. That's a huge part of.
It should be the biggest part, sadly, of
we lose sight of that. We end up becoming moms, well, especially once you have kids. I know for me, it's so hard to say like, I'm a person first. It's like, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a person somewhere down the line. But we push that down in priority versus making it a priority.
Right.
This is the type of woman that I want to be, who then allows me to be the mom.
And the wife.
And all the pieces.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
Right. Instead of, like you said, just reacting first to what you need to be to everyone else, but first, who are you without them? Before they were here, you still had certain whispers, and a certain vision for yourself. And when we know that, I feel like it actually makes us more powerful, like you said, in those other roles. We're able to really show up more confidently. And like we said, just feeling more sufficient in ourselves and not feeling like now we're just performing because of what everyone else said we need to do. Because we need to be a mom, because because my boss said I need to do this. But when you kind of know first who you are, you're a bit more able to say, no, I wouldn't take clients on a Saturday, because I know in this season, the type of mom I am is not rushed. And I'm going to prioritize a slow day with my children. Even if it's a hectic soccer day, it's still just a day I'm going to choose to be with them, not distracted, by my other tasks. So yeah, when we really choose that, and for me, that has just been powerful in transforming me from becoming that woman that was just always getting caught up in what everyone else wanted. I've become more grounded, and that's what you're seeing now, where I'm much more clearer, because I've gone back to what I used to teach other clients, but then you kind of forgot, in the season of motherhood, and then I had to revisit my own tools.
We got excited, and I think that's where I saw with you, before. It's like you're super excited and you wanted to do all these things, but then there's only so many hours in a day, and then you found a way to bring that all together.
Streamline, right.
Perfect.
Simplify.
So you're still able to do so much of it. You've just found this one path that now has, what'd you say, was like different segments of it, but it's still one
Right,
one
still
piece.
under the same vision, still under the same, goal.
I love it.
Yeah. And I just made it fit into a business model that works.
So speaking of business model, I want to chat about Brandng, because we met and you were one of my subscription clients. And so we got to meet and create all this content. I just want to know a little bit about your experience and kind of what that's done for you as far as having all these visuals at your disposal now for all your different plans.
Yes. So kind of like I said, I've always been, a woman who I like making it easy to feel put together, to be the woman that we really, kind of see ourselves as. And I think a lot of times with a business idea, which is great, we can get out there and we start serving people, but you being able to come in and capture that vision of allowing what I did to really represent the type of woman I, wanted to show up as well as the type of client I knew I wanted to serve. It really helped make that vision clearer too, even for myself, as I was trying to decipher what am I prioritizing. And I realized it was for women who they were ambitious. They do like kind of
Elevated. Nice.
Yeah, they really do like elevated things. They really want to maximize their potential. They really want to kind of see themselves at the highest level. And so having pictures that were able to match that vision and that aesthetic made it not just words, that were on an About Me page, but it was how I was able to now show up wherever I was online. Even tomorrow, I was asked to speak at a webinar, and I was able to quickly pull from those clean professional photos, send those over. And she was like, oh my gosh, these are amazing, and it just really allows for the season where I'm in, where it's like, prioritize what's important and what matches your vision. It makes everything else, I think, flow so easily. So having your photos have made fleshing out every other part of the brand so seamless now, and really keeping us at that level of what we saw, our brand, which is serving women globally. I'm not scared now to go into any sphere or to show up for any room. Because I know my branding matches, anything that, any needs that they have.
When I think you were the one that stemmed trying to add on reels onto sessions, to be honest, because it was like after one of our sessions where you were like, all right, now I get to go do videos. And I was like, wait,
yes.
Why don't we just do that while we're here?
I know.
And just batch creating that content so that you could then, as soon as you're done with the session, go back on to do whatever else you needed to do versus finishing photos and then still feeling like you had to go do
videos
more.
Which I love that about you, because I feel like you always really try to see like, okay, what are my clients needing, and bring in that. So even from the photo shoot, I was amazed that you were like, no, I'm going to bring in, you have a makeup person and a stylist person. And so with all those things that you had already brought to the table for me for the photo shoot, I wanted to maximize them to get not just photos, but even videos. Because, I feel like those services just make you feel so confident and ready for whatever. So I love that you adapted to. I was like, oh, let me add videos for my clients, which was perfect.
I think it's from that heart of service, and it just made so much sense. I'm like, okay, what else can I do to just help you? Because I watch you struggle, or like I watch and I'm like, oh my gosh, that just makes so much sense. So I love that. Okay, so for that person that's been on the fence, or they're scared, or just not really sure that branding is the direction they want to go in, what's your advice to that person?
I feel like, the branding is really the soul of a business. So visuals that represent your brand are going to be a lot of times the first thing people see to really kind of get a glimpse into who you are, what do you stand for, what are your values, can they relate or connect, And so definitely, I would say if you haven't yet decided to prioritize making your branding represent who you say you are or what you're saying that you do for them, having visuals that really match that and represent that and can communicate that before you even say anything, I feel like are essential. It really is essential. And like I said, it kind of simplifies a lot of the work that we tend to do sometimes trying to prove that to someone. I think when you really can show up with visuals that match, or media or content that really just is already sharing what you do, and you have either some proof of that, it really simplifies how much you're having to just, shout online. Because the branding really sells that for you.
It's such a big piece, and I feel like some people are doing it backwards. And it's like, I want to be successful first. I'm like, oh, but wait, it can help you get there so much faster because even just the simplest and starting small, but like going all in on the branding is just such an essential piece because it helps you bridge that gap.
It does.
I love it.
Like I said, it did for me. It really helped to inform, and remind me of who I wanted to be and what I need to just focus on.
Well, and I love the confidence piece. Like that confidence it gave you, because you said earlier, like it's just, you just have the confidence now to show up and you don't have to worry about it. Like I can tackle any direction I want to go because I've got the visuals that I can create the things I need to match. I love that.
Right.
I love being able to help people's visions come to life. Like that's ultimately my goal.
And I feel like you're really good at that. Like I said, not even just with listening on, whatever you're trying to accomplish, but the fact that you have collaborated with others to really bring that to life for us in simpler ways, whether it's, like I said, video, makeup, styling. I love how you're very collaborative to really pull in whoever will help us bring our vision to life. So I would say even the subscription service was powerful, and I'd recommend for anyone out there where you don't want to have to sometimes plan these things, having the subscription forced me to know that the dates were there and I was gonna just always be able to show up, at different points in the year and get the photos and the media that aligned with what my business was gonna need. So it really was like that foresight or that planning ahead that kind of gets embedded into the subscription service, which I loved.
Become your brand partner.
Right.
I push you guys to show up in your business.
Yes. Yes, whether or not you were, now you're like, oh, the date's coming up, right? So let's do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a game changer for me. Finding someone I didn't even know. I'd never seen anyone else offer that, so it was a game changer realizing that was an option. And like I said, I feel like it simplified. It made the year so much simpler.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it made the year much simpler.
Well, is there anything else as we wrap up that you would love to share about your brand that we've missed, or just last piece of advice for anybody that's out there on this entrepreneurship journey?
I think I've said it, but really just reminding everyone that definitely look at that legacy, and that lifestyle that, you want to prioritize for yourself, what's going to matter in the end, and build a business and the brand that serves that vision. Because from there, it really eliminates a lot that we tend to just reactively accept and we don't need to. As well as, it really allows you to just serve whoever your business is going to serve. You really can now focus on just really serving them at the highest level once you've decided this is where I'm going to plant my flag. This is what I'm meant to do. This is who I'm going to focus on, really helping accomplish their goals. So yeah, just really allow that to be your driving force. Start with a legacy.
Thank you. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they've been watching and they want to find you, where do they find you?
So I would definitely go to gratefulgains.com. It is not just where, again, you can find planners. I think right now if you go, there is a how to guarantee your 2025 goals, which is a great place to start. And then from there, being able to receive weekly newsletters from me. And then from there, you'll be able to find out about some of our other services or coaching programs or products that are coming up for 2025. So gratefulgains.com.
Thank you, Robyn-Ann, for sharing your inspiring journey and showing us the power of faith, resilience, and purpose-driven creativity. Hearing how your work is empowering women to rise and lead with integrity has been truly uplifting. To everyone tuning in, let's continue to champion and support one another. If this interview resonated with you, be sure to like, follow, or subscribe so you don't miss future conversations with more incredible entrepreneurs. And don't forget to share with this episode with someone who could benefit from Robyn-Ann. His empowering story and insights, or who may want a beautiful prayer-led planner or matching coordinating accessories. Make sure you follow her, gratefulgains.com, and join us next time on the Branding by Jo Client Spotlight interview series, where we'll be bringing you more inspiring stories and practical tips to help you grow your brand with confidence.